Let's talk about this idea that the greatest wealth we can have is intelligence. Imam Ali, in a reflection that still holds so much relevance today, describes wisdom as the greatest need and true self-sufficiency. Now, when you think about it, material wealth, it can come and go, right? But intelligence, that ability to think critically and solve problems, it's kind of like, well, it's a lifelong companion. You can rely on it no matter what circumstances you're in. I mean, think of it this way. Wouldn't you say that someone with sharp reasoning and a thirst for knowledge can navigate like almost any situation? It's fascinating because we see people all the time who might not have the most resources, but because they have insight and a clear perspective, they manage to thrive. And that aligns so beautifully with what Imam Ali points out here. He's emphasizing that intelligence isn't just helpful, it's necessary, it's foundational. On the flip side, ignorance, he calls it the greatest poverty. That's such a stark way of putting it, but it makes sense. Ignorance can leave you unprepared, unsure, and disconnected from the real world. I mean, let's be honest, we've all seen or heard stories about people whose lack of understanding led to mistakes that, well, could have been avoided, right? It's like this trap that keeps people stuck, unable to see the bigger picture. And here's another layer to this. In our modern world where information is everywhere, on your phone, your computer, even your watch, there's almost no excuse not to learn. Lifelong learning and critical thinking have become survival skills. Imam Ali's words about wisdom being enduring are spot on because knowledge, once you have it, doesn't just go away. It builds on itself, like layer after layer, creating new opportunities, opening doors you didn't even see before. Take someone like Nelson Mandela, for example. His intellect and understanding of people were instrumental, even when he was in prison. Or think of innovators who may not have been rich when they started, but used their knowledge to reshape industries. Their stories underline this truth. Intelligence is the real wealth. So thinking critically and striving to learn, these aren't just good habits. They're transformative. They keep us resilient. They keep us ahead in a way ignorance never could. When we think about how ignorance impacts relationships, it's almost, staggering, isn't it? Imam Ali frames it as a formidable barrier, something that keeps people disconnected, not just from knowledge, but from each other. And isn't that true? Ignorance limits how we relate to the world. It creates misunderstandings, assumptions. It's like this wall that grows thicker the longer it's left unchecked. Take communication as an example. If someone doesn't make an effort to understand, not just facts, but perspectives, they kind of miss out on meaningful connections. They almost isolate themselves. Like, haven't we all had those moments where a lack of understanding on either side just, derailed an entire conversation? And then there's vanity, the kind of self-centeredness that, ironically, leaves people completely alone. Imam Ali describes it as the most terrifying kind of isolation. And you can see why, when someone is so caught up in themselves, they push others away, even if that's not their intention. It's lonely when the only person in your world is you. Think about those social media personas we've all come across, the ones where everything's so carefully curated to showcase perfection. It often feels hollow, right? That facade might attract attention for a while, but it doesn't form real bonds. In fact, it can end up doing the opposite, alienating the very people they might want to connect with. But here's the thing. Humility and ethical discernment stand in such sharp contrast to these traps. A humble person doesn't need to shout their worth. Their actions speak for them. They listen, they learn, and they grow. I mean, isn't it refreshing when you meet someone who genuinely values a connection rather than their own image? Imam Ali is basically telling us to be selective, to avoid the prideful because, their egotism only breeds superficiality. It's a reminder, really, to surround ourselves with people who uplift us, who help us learn and grow rather than pull us into their own self-constructed bubbles. Good character. Imam Ali describes it as the true measure of nobility. And that feels so relevant, doesn't it? In a world so often obsessed with, status, appearance, or even ancestry, his words kind of cut through all of that. He's saying none of those things mean anything unless they're paired with virtue, unless they come alongside genuine ethics and morality. I mean, think about it for a moment. Have you ever met someone who seemed impressive at first, maybe because of their background or their achievements, but then their behaviour, it didn't quite match up? It's disappointing, isn't it? At the same time, someone with genuinely good character stands out, even if they come from what some might consider more humble beginnings. Their kindness, integrity, those are the things we truly remember. And this ties directly to the idea of avoiding deceitful individuals. Imam Ali cautioned against deceit as one of the vices to steer clear of, and it's easy to see why. A deceitful person can turn your world upside down, making the far seem near and the near seem far. It's like trusting a cracked mirror. It only distorts your view. Surrounding yourself with people of good character, though, that's when you find relationships that are, well, real, steady, and built on mutual respect. I've seen this play out, in the workplace, in friendships. People often underestimate the power of small, everyday actions, how they treat others, how they react under pressure. But really, that's where character shines through. And when it comes down to it, good ethics have this way of just transcending everything else. They're the legacy we leave behind, more lasting than any title, any inheritance. So as we wrap up today, I think the lesson here is pretty clear. Character matters. It's not about who you know or where you come from. It's about how you live, the choices you make, the principles you stand by. Imam Ali's wisdom reminds us to value what truly endures: goodness, truth, and integrity. And honestly, that's something we can all strive for, every single day. And on that note, we've reached the end of this episode. Thanks for joining me on this journey through these timeless insights. I hope it sparked some thoughts for you, maybe even inspired you to reflect on your own life. Until next time, take care and keep learning, keep growing, and above all, keep striving to be the best version of yourself.